nuclear weapons, evolution, the fact that Earth is not the center of the universe. These are all things which, for one reason or another, shook up the way we perceived ourselves and our world. But what inventions and discoveries might we make in the future that could have such an effect? And might these things lead to the end of the human race? It may seem like the realm of science fiction, but as humans make ever more progress in the fields of genetic engineering and nanotechnology, the possibility of immortal humans grows by the day. If you can remove the threat of disease by tweaking our genes, and if you can cure tumors and ailments at the cellular level through the use of nanobots, we could potentially extend our lives indefinitely. Obviously, us fleshy meatbags would still be at risk of dying from cool explosions, or being eaten by an especially hungry bunch of raccoons. But this too could be eliminated if we could figure out how to transfer human consciousness. Such a situation would then lead to Earth becoming massively overpopulated, so we'd need to colonize other planets unless we're willing to get real chummy with each other. And this scenario is considered unlikely, because far from being friendly, immortal humans will probably become reckless, jaded, lazy, or potentially psychotic due to the monotony of never-ending existence, and the muddled sense of identity which would come with holding memories over hundreds or thousands of years. This may not come to pass anytime soon, but we are on the way there for sure. A fact demonstrated by the number of countries today struggling with the effects of an aging population. Some scientists believe that the first person to live to 150 has already been born, and that most millennials will last beyond 100 years, at least. This will inevitably put a strain on resources, but longer-lasting humans also slow down social progress too. The death of ideas comes with death of those who hold them. So, causes which promote equality and diversity may take even longer to take effect. And if you were to ask those who voted against Trump and Brexit, whose opponents were both overwhelmingly a younger demographic, you may say we're seeing the effects of long-life humans already. When the first antibiotic penicillin was discovered in 1928 by Alexander Fleming, it was heralded as a game changer, as in ye old-timey days, a simple infection could prove deadly to even the strongest human beings. And now, thanks to Mr. Fleming's poor approach to laboratory hygiene, we have these wonderful antimicrobial drugs to help us out when we've got a dodgy kidney, an infected wound. But this scattergun approach to the use of antibiotics has one gigantic downside, as it has directly contributed to the development of super-resistant bacteria. In January 2017, an American woman died from one such strain, the ominously named Phantom Menace bacteria. And so far, we've yet to find any antibiotic which can touch this deadly organism. If this situation continues, and we cannot find a cure, humanity could be under serious threat of extinction. At the very least, it could lead to a nationwide health catastrophe, and a mass shutdown of global travel and industries. Hey, don't worry about superbacteria or everlasting humans, because none of that matters. In fact, nothing matters. Not your life, not your dog, your relationship, the planet Earth, the sun, the stars, and all the geese who ever lived. It's all irrelevant if we discover the multiverse. The term multiverse describes the theory that our universe is just one of an infinite number of realities, and if this is true, then it would have some pretty devastating effects on the fragile human ego. If an infinite number of universes exist, then that means an infinite number of copies of you also exist. And an infinite number of them are more successful, more handsome, and better at skee-ball than you are or ever will be. Everything you have done, can do, or will ever do has already been done, and is being done right now, and will be done again in the future. February 1953, James Watson and Francis Crick discovered the double helix structure of DNA. Watson and Crick's work identified the two distinct strands which make up DNA's structure, along with their endless assortment of chemical patterns which inform what flavor of human will become. But some people believe that DNA's structure seems eerily mathematical, that such an information-based system looks like it was intelligently designed. So what if we discovered that was true? What if we found undeniable proof that human beings were someone else's creation, be it a god, a race of extraterrestrials, or even more advanced versions of ourselves? What if we found something in our bodies, or in the world around us, which confirmed that we were built for a purpose, or that we're living inside a dream or simulation, as we've covered in some of our recent videos? Could the human race cope with the knowledge that we are nothing more than someone's science fair project? That we're merely the plaything of an intelligent organism? But it could also destroy the entire fabric of society and render every one of man's achievements entirely meaningless. leading to an orgy of complete anarchy and self-destruction. And that still sounds pretty fun. The trouble with this entry, though, is that such a discovery might not even need to be true. If humanity became convinced that we were artificially created, even if it was false, that could be enough to finish us off. There are a bazillion movies and books which deal with the concept of artificial intelligence, i.e. the development of a machine which can think, learn, and act on a level equal to or greater than human beings. But is it really artificial intelligence we should be worried about? Or must we instead be concerned about the discovery of artificial consciousness? Rather than simulating awareness and perception and passing it off as intelligence, what if we were to discover that full-blown consciousness can be created? That we can generate it using some kind of technological procedure? Some people believe this is a distinct possibility. For why should organic brains be the only structure capable of creating and experiencing such a thing? In a world where machines can feel as we do, where they have desires and relationships just as valid as our own, how do we cope with our role as creators? What devastating effects on our morals, religions, and everyday lives would this have? Humans can't comprehend how consciousness works, nor why it exists. So we can't say for certain that creating an artificial form of consciousness is impossible. However, slowly but surely, we are inching towards an understanding of the human mind. And if one day we do figure out how to create consciousness, that'll be the day we realize humans, animals, and life itself is not so special after all. There are few smells on Earth as pleasant as that of freshly cut grass, until you realize this is the scent of pure fear and agony. The smell we detect from a recently mown lawn is actually a chemical distress signal equivalent to a creature screaming out in pain, and it is used to attract nearby life forms to come to its aid. But this isn't the only example of plant life guffing out a smell when they're being chowed down on. Researchers at Germany's University of Bonn used a laser-powered microphone to detect the release of gases from plants when they are injured or cut, and they found that cucumbers scream when they're sick, and flowers let out a whine when pruned of their leaves. Some argue that the lack of a brain means that plant life cannot feel pain. But we can't be sure that this is definitely the case. Plants already exhibit intelligent behavior without having an identifiable brain-like component, as trees have been observed communicating to each other when under attack from insects. So can you imagine how traumatic it would be if we could definitely prove that trees and plants feel pain when we cut and use them? You might be thinking the discovery of extraterrestrial life is on this list somewhere. But I'm going to play spoiler alert now and tell you it's not. Because while finding out that aliens exist would be undeniably world-changing, it'd be more devastating if we found out we were completely and utterly alone. Take religion, for example. Pope Francis has been quoted as saying that the discovery of alien life is completely compatible with Christianity, and that he would even baptize extraterrestrials if they came to the Vatican. But are Christianity, and indeed all religious beliefs, compatible with the idea of an endless, barren void? If there are no intelligent creators, no advanced race of super beings or gods, if there is no life anywhere else other than what we have on planet Earth, how does that change the human psyche? Let's assume the future reveals nothing more than alien microbial life elsewhere, leading us all to the inevitable conclusion that we are the sole conscious presence amongst this vast expanse of the universe, and we will be for a long time, or all time. How would we deal with such brutal isolation?